Today on CityCast Las Vegas, Nevada Current reporter Michael M.J. Lyle is joining us to dive into how the community is responding to a fire in the Arts District that devastated a pair of local businesses. Plus, artist Vogue Robinson helps us explain why Amazon is destroying rare books in North Las Vegas, and we get into the closure of Mad Apple. But before we get into all of that, guys, we got to talk about more human remains found at Lake Mead. What the hell? Every time this happens, and I guess this is what, 3 times now? Is my math off? I don't know. The fact that it's even 1 time is crazy. But are you guys out on Lake Mead all together? Like, are you doing any sort of recreation out there? You swimming? You getting close to the water? Hit me with the deets. Are you guys even doing this?
I never put my body in that body of water.
I don't blame you, Vogue. Yeah.
It's been a while since I've been out there, and now I'm like, I'm hesitant to go back.
It's
a crime scene. It's a multi-tiered crime scene. That's what that is, friends.
It is wild. I feel like it's like turned into like a real life version of Clue. Like, let me go walk down by the beach and see who done it, you know? Or like you pair that even with the amoeba. What was it, like in 2022? I think they had said they found it in an area there, like the brain-eating amoeba. I want no part of that. Yeah, like and I love bodies of water. But I'm not doing it.
Bodies of water, it is. Indeed.
That's true, yeah.
Water of bodies.
See what I did there, even though I wasn't trying to do that. Yeah, that was good. But with that, we'll move on. Get today's show rolling, right, guys? It's Thursday, August 20th. I'm Jesse Merrick, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Hey, Las Vegas, it's Jesse here. At the end of today's episode, I have a sponsored segment with Holly Erker, who's a luxury real estate advisor at IS Luxury. And we're going to be talking about the people and organizations keeping Las Vegas history alive, from the Neon Museum to a preservation movement that's reshaping how buyers think about mid-century homes here in the Valley. This interview is brought to you by Holly Erker at IS Luxury. All right, guys, so we got to start on a bit of a heavy note here today. There was a fire in the Arts District that devastated a pair of local businesses. MJ, what's the latest on what's going on down there with all of this?
Yeah, so I think there's so many multi-layers to why this is so devastating. One, the historic nature of these buildings and just the loss of that, but also a Black-owned business too, like just the devastation that it is to the community and the services that it provide. We're talking about Raw Remedies, which is a natural hair salon. What they did was specialize in Black hair, locks, and braiding, and just kind of a place for people with Black hair to go. Unfortunately, I do not have hair. I do not go.
It says I do not have hair.
I do not hair, yes. But spiritually, like I understand the importance of this. But also, it's at a time where there's just a lot of concern about the loss of identity in downtown Las Vegas, especially in a fresh sense of frustration around business owners in general, that they're kind of being left behind as
revitalization.
Yes, exactly.
The rebrand of the Arts District area and its loss of the arts overall.
100%, yes.
That space is not just like hair care, it's also like a community hub because there was a stage in the back as well. So they did community activations and really cool events.
So it's multi-layer, and like the loss that it is bringing, just not only like the services provided, the Black hair or Black entrepreneurship, but also kind of just the place it took up in the overarching downtown community. So,
yeah, back if you remember when First Friday used to curve around that corner, there used to also be like a stage in that corner, and like there was like more like that was like kind of the food truck area too.
Yes, yeah.
So even a time when I feel like First Friday felt a little bit more community oriented as well.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like, I think, especially too, like, what is it? Analog Dope also too was impacted by this as well. The two businesses essentially sharing the same space down there.
The Black-owned bookstore /
LGBTQ friendly, yes.
And then they were partnering with another business called Queendom Cultivation. And so basically when Queendom closed its doors, and that was in a different location, you could still go pick up your crystals and your like incense and different things like that from Analog Dope. So they were doing a lot of things to partner. They have a little free library in the front as well. Like there's so many things to love about it. And I have a long history of going there.
No, yeah, and that's like I had known about that area over there. I hadn't been to Analog Dope, and I just happened to be looking on there with everything, and I saw the video, and I was like, God, like I'm pissed I missed this, obviously, because like I wish I could have been able to check this out before the fire. So hopefully they're obviously able to get back on their feet and everything. I know that's still a developing situation because this is so new. Fire is obviously devastating, but you look at it, and you guys talk about their spot in the whole conversation of the Arts District and helping it become what it is. They're a longstanding business in that area too, and I think as we talk about all the new business that comes in, and even some of like the high dollar companies coming in with like, what is it, Houston Hot Chicken or whatever it is down there, they don't really feel like the identity of the Arts District. This is now something that is taking a part of that away, at least in the interim, and you're hoping that they can come back. That's where I think it really hits home the most too, is that this is a long-standing thing that's been a pillar in that area down there.
Absolutely. I mean, there are so many small businesses, and like I said, like they kind of feel like they're being getting the shaft. Like if you've seen these long-standing fights on social media or at city council meetings about kind of just all the changes that feel like kind of a slight to a lot of parking is the big one. Feels like a slight to small businesses, like how they're feeling, and so kind of this adds a little bit insult to injury. Just kind of have at the time of this taping, we don't know the causes of the fire, and so but just to have it happen and kind of take that away from the community just kind of adds on to this overall feeling that kind of the hits just keep on coming.
Yeah, the business owner is saying that they heard a loud pop, I think, right, and saw some like sparks flying from the power lines or the power pole there. And so again, don't know for sure if that was the case, but that's what they're saying they heard. I know, again, not to draw parallels between the two, but like I live downtown, they're replacing a lot of the power poles downtown, in the neighborhoods here right now. So that makes me wonder, is like, okay, like, was this thing needing an upgrade or needing to be updated in general? That possibly led to this. All that's going to, come to fruition over time as they continue to look into it all. But I think it just like brings it into perspective too of like that area, MJ, to your point, like it could be one bad day that hurts a long-standing business in that area. Like, are they going to be able to recover from that given the expenses that could come with this? Because even if you have fire insurance, there's a lot of things that it doesn't cover. I speak from personal experience. My family, they lost their home in the Thomas Fire in Southern California.
Oh, wow.
And we were insured, but there's a lot of things that weren't covered. And it was an 8-year process for us to get back on our feet to like have it be normal. It was crazy. So like, even though you can hear like, oh, they're covered, they'll be fine. Like, no. It is a long process for these companies to come back. And you wonder if they truly can recover. And that's where the community comes in to help, right?
I mean, coming out of reporting from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Bobby Millens, the owner of Raw Remedies, she mentioned that she did have property insurance, but still figuring out if that isn't enough to cover the full damage of everything. And right now, everything's just so much more expensive. Life is just so much more expensive. And so being a business owner in general is just hard enough. And so even with community support, and I think there is going to be a lot of community support because she was a fixture in the community and this was something that was needed. There are, I am curious the logistics that she's going to face and the barriers she's going to face to bring it back to the full vision. Maybe there's going to be a different vision of it, but there is a lot of questions about like just what it will take to actually bring this back.
Yeah, and I think it's multi-tiered. Obviously, the first thing is money because money is how we pay for the things that are needed. But I also think even reaching out to them at a personal level, like if like I know the owners of Analog Dope. They've been in my home. We've broken bread and eaten like chickpea curry. They're magical, beautiful human beings. And I think even reaching out and saying that you care and that their space matters. For Analog Dope, you can buy books still from their online website. Because the stores has some of their inventory, but some of it is also online. So you can buy books from the store. If you know other like hair salons and places that maybe have products, they could maybe donate or talk to them about what are their needs. And then even just showing up on the space because they still have stuff they have to clean out. And I think it's thinking about their day-to-day operations are now completely transformed. So they went from, okay, we're trying to turn a profit each day, or we have clients that need to come in. They've got to make the phone calls and talk to their clients and let them know. So if somebody's really good at like administrative stuff, maybe going in to see, hey, can I help? Just call people and tell them their appointments are canceled, or seeing, hey, can I physically help move something, throw something away, haul something away? Even those little things, because it's a pretty solid, like, I feel like it's maybe at least like half an acre of land. So, I mean, still, like the Arts District is transforming before our eyes. And so I think if we want to keep things that are open to the community, that have children's events, all ages events in the Arts District. And we all know how hard it is to find an all ages event in this town. after a certain hour, but a place that is welcoming, that has like readings for kids, that has like art concerts and open mics, and a place for people to feel safe and comfortable in their own skin and their own hair, then showing up. And I believe, and Bobby also has Raw Remedies, the business. So Raw Remedies also has a GoFundMe. So you can donate to the GoFundMe, or you can donate to Analog Dope directly via their Cash App.
Definitely check them out. We'll make sure that that's in the show notes of the description for today's episode as well, to make it easier for everybody listening. You know, if you can, whether that's donating money, time to help do whatever it is, like just do it. You know, there's so many people that listen and talk about how much they love the Arts District, and these businesses are a huge part of what helped make the Arts District what it is. But I think, too, there's a bigger discussion, and MJ, you alluded to it earlier when you were talking about it, the age of what at one point these businesses were homes. Were things updated for the suitability of a business that needs, you know, the constant energy load more so than a home, you know, and things like that when you're operating all day, and brings together also a bigger discussion of like preservation versus renovation when they're turned into businesses and stuff. Like, how do you balance those two things while keeping safety in mind with these older businesses and older buildings down there? Because I talk about it so many times on the pod, people probably get annoyed. Like, I'm in the process of revitalizing my home, and I'm trying to make sure it stays true to my roots. And I don't want to, you know, just renovate everything or tear everything down in the Arts District. But safety is also a big concern too, right? With these buildings and the electrical and all that stuff.
Right.
I mean, it's a fair question, but at the same time, I feel like we have such a response in Las Vegas to like just tear everything down and start new, like blow it up, like,
which I hate that.
Imploded.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. My God, that's the Las Vegas way. But like, we're not the only community that has long-standing buildings that have been converted into that were formerly homes that are now office spaces. Like, other communities have taken this road too. Like, we could follow suit. We don't have to like just, I guess we need to pave it all over and start new. Like, we could actually do a lot more for preservation to actually update everything and preserve the face of everything rather than just kind of start anew.
We've got enough new. Let's focus on like, you know, making the interior of the downtown areas better, you know, and safe. It really is the big key.
Yeah.
The following is a paid political advertisement paid for by the committee to elect Alex Quagg.
Hi, CityCast listeners. I'm Alex Quagg, and I'm running for Clark County District Court Judge, Department 29. Southern Nevada is my home. I graduated from El Dorado High School and UNLV. From my first job to now raising my family, this community has shaped who I am. That's why public service is personal to me. I've spent my career serving on all sides of our justice system, representing service members in the Army, working as a prosecutor, and seeing how courtroom decisions ripple through people's lives and through our community. That's a responsibility I never take lightly. Clark County deserves judges who bring experience, dignity, and respect to every person who enters the courtroom. I'm proud to have earned their support of prosecutors, defense attorneys, law enforcement, labor unions, veterans organizations, and many others across our community. From JAG to judge, I'd be honored to earn your vote. I'm Alex Quagg, running for Clark County District Court, Department 29. Learn more at electalexquagg.com.
Paid for by the committee to elect Alex Quagg. CityCast does not endorse candidates for office.
Coming home from a hospital stay or surgery is supposed to feel like relief, but the first few weeks alone can be scary. A little extra help at home can make all the difference in a smooth recovery. That's where Touching Hearts at Home comes in. Touching Hearts at Home is a locally owned home care agency right here in the Las Vegas Valley. For them, care is both a promise and a practice, with caregivers who are trained, background checked, and thoughtfully matched to each family. Caregivers help with daily things like bathing, meals, light housekeeping, transportation, and companionship. Touching Hearts at Home offers flexible scheduling from a few hours a week to full-time support serving seniors, people living with medical conditions or disabilities, those in transition from hospital to home, and anyone over the age of 18 who can benefit from the help of a professional caregiver. Give them a call at 702-514-0908. That's 702-514-0908, or visit their website at touchinghearts.com/Henderson to set up a free consultation, and they'll walk you through what support could look like for your family. Mention CityCast for 15% off your first month of service.
All right, let's keep it rolling. And it's kind of in the same vein because we know Analog Dope is a bookstore and we're talking about books now here as well. Vogue, why the hell is Amazon destroying books and rare books at that?
Friends, we are living in a spy thriller. DC, which I don't know if y'all know, DC actually stood for Detective Comics, but we're in a spy thriller, DC dystopian movie. Cute spy music. So 404 Media did an investigation because book sales were increasing and a bunch of people were like, hey, our book sales are increasing and that's wonderful. But the question was, why? Because it wasn't just any books, it was rare books and it was random orders. Like sometimes you can tell what somebody's into based on what they're ordering. These were random orders. Some were really high. Right? It was like, 1,000 books. Like, I don't know if there's 1,000 books. That's not like a library.
They're like, we know you're not that smart. You can't read that many
ordering
books.
this many books? So a bookseller from Biblio agreed to take an Apple AirTag, put it in a book, and see where it went. And so they traced the book like it was Batman. They put a little tracker on it and traced the book all the way to a place called Lost 8, which was basically just an Amazon warehouse where this company and in another interior shell company inside of Amazon called VGT3 that has a logo of a dinosaur like ripping into a book.
Side note, I think the logo is actually kind of cool. Just as a side note,
I will fight you today.
I'm
you
sorry.
will not give them kudos because let's talk about the fact that it is an extinct animal ripping into an analog object that may become extinct. That it's a thing it's extinct. It's
almost like they're poking fun at it,
eating into something that they are trying to create and turn into something that becomes extinct. There's a poem in there somewhere, but basically,
I can't wait for you to write that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Vogue.
I'll call you.
It's on you now. Yeah,
but what it is that Amazon is buying the books. Sliding it through like a thing to like cut off the spine of the books because it makes it faster and easier to digitize them. And once they digitize the books, then they're feeding it to AI to train the AI. And the goal is to get books pre-2022 because what are books from pre-2022? Books that have not been written by AI for show because there was no AI. And the issue around that is, we need our AI to be smarter. It's almost AI telling on itself about the fact that we need more original content so that we make sure that how we're editing things and what we're suggesting to people does well. And I think, an employee from Amazon said, well, we're procuring information to improve our tool. This is not like a direct quote. This is a Vogue paraphrase, but we're taking in information so that we can improve tools that our users use, which is true, but it's deeply painful. Yeah.
Yeah. I think to clarify too, like the one of the big issues, the fact that they're destroying the books, they're not getting recirculated.
There have
been instances where things like this have happened and they do redistribute the books. They're not destroying them.
Right.
It is a speed and cost thing of the reason why they're ripping off the bindings and doing it, which also feels kind of gross. Not kind of, it feels very gross because it's like, okay, you're taking away forms of art, destroying them because of money and speed rather than like, hey, no, let's make sure they're recirculated.
Because there's more than one way to scan a book.
Exactly. Yeah. And also, too, we want to make sure, I don't want to give Amazon a pass here, but they're not the only ones that have done this. Anthropic did it with Claude. They called it Project Panama starting as early as 2020. Why the hell are they giving these things code names, too? That just tells you it's some shady stuff.
Because they're villains. They're literally villains. Like, these are like comic book villains.
Exactly. It all reeks of Fahrenheit 451, too, though, right? Like, this feels like the beginning of it. Like,
it's the combination, right? Because you're going to end up having kids that are like, what are books, mommy?
Yeah.
And you're like, they are these things with pages, but I guess we'll still have trees. I don't know, depending on what the data centers do. I'm not going to go there. What I'm going to stay at is that, for me, Bezos is Luthor coded, but like the other bad guy that Superman has to fight is Brainiac. And what Brainiac does is goes to different planets, destroys the planet after collecting all the information about it. Yeah. So this is literally a Brainiac company. They're going in, they're taking information, they're ripping it out, and then they're destroying the source material.
Well, you guys remember how Amazon started?
Exactly.
Yes,
they started as an
online bookstore.
They started as an online bookstore. Then they ate Borders for breakfast.
Yeah.
They ate Borders for breakfast, like ate it up. So to think about that, to go from being a bookseller, which is like has a little bit of like, oh, maybe they're good, and to have transformed into what they are now, is a very interesting story, but I think that the pain point is the destruction of the books. And because they don't have anybody, as far as we know, they don't have anyone there who's saying, oh, well, this is a really rare book. This should be inside of the Library of Congress, or it should be donated to a university library. You're not giving anybody any option, because they did rule for the Anthropic case that it was fair use. Like, yeah, you can scan a book and train your AI, because it's not technically profit and you're not redistributing the book. You're not reselling the book. So technically it's in the fair use realm.
Yeah.
This, I feel like it feels a lot more heinous, especially because it's an unnecessary aspect and it's literally just for the sake of cutting costs. But shout out to 404 Media for doing this investigation using another piece of technology.
Yeah.
Right. And again, what are we doing with our technology, y'all? I don't think we be thinking stuff through. An AirTag was supposed to be like, if you lose your purse, you lose the remote. And now it's, where's your kid? Where's the book? Everybody thinks they're...
Where's your
people
boyfriend?
Have to put them on their damn car. Yeah, where's your boyfriend? Where's your girlfriend?
Totally kidding.
It's turning into something much more. So I think we really have to think about how we're utilizing technology. And the more that we continue to use it, it is kind of like us saying, well, it's okay for you to rip a book apart and destroy it. I'm sorry, guys.
Wild, yeah. And like, MJ, I want to hit you with this one because Vogue kind of mentioned it there about like, I know you've done a lot of reporting on like AI guardrails that have kind of failed at the legislative level. What do you think needs to be done more so in the area of like AI training to prevent things like this happening? Like, does the state need to step in order to kind of do this stuff?
I think there needs to be both a state and federal response, because like you have to hit this from a lot of different angles. And I think lawmakers have been a little bit behind on this. Part of it is because in Nevada, we are a part-time legislator. And so we meet every other year. But when we have looked at general guardrails, we kind of haven't done anything. State Senator Dina Neal proposed just a basic overview of guardrails, from like limiting use in school districts, limiting use in like police, how they access AI or use AI to write tickets, and that didn't even make it out of committee. And so I think we need lawmakers that are very forward thinking, because if not, we're heading down a very dark path. Like, it took an investigation to actually learn the truth of what they're doing behind the scenes. And so I think lawmakers have to be forward thinking about this and kind of approach this from different angles.
I guess too, I don't know, as we close here on this one, I think it's odd that, because Amazon's got facilities obviously all over the place. Why in Vegas? Like, do you guys have any idea as to why this would be going down in Vegas in particular? Like, why they chose it here?
Tax breaks.
Yeah.
I think we probably have a lot of warehouses. I mean, a lot of companies want to come here because of the tax breaks for their businesses. And so I think that's more of it. And then maybe they just figured, well, nobody's going to look in North Las Vegas. Who knows? But that would be my first response.
Which I guess powers home the point of needing more regulation for this stuff, MJ.
So I think this goes back to the conversation about data centers right now, of like how people are wanting accountability, because in essence, like, these companies are getting tax abatements and tax breaks to come into our state and not have much accountability about how they're operating. And so I think we're seeing that in other industries, and this Amazon is another example of that. They're getting tax breaks to come into our state without much oversight of how they're operating and what they're doing and what harm they could be creating.
The following is a paid political advertisement paid for by the committee to elect Alex Quag.
Hi, CityCast listeners. I'm Alex Quag, and I'm running for Clark County District Court Judge, Department 29. Southern Nevada is my home. I graduated from El Dorado High School and UNLV. From my first job to now raising my family, this community has shaped who I am. That's why public service is personal to me. I've spent my career serving on all sides of our justice system, representing service members in the Army, working as a prosecutor, and seeing how courtroom decisions ripple through people's lives and through our community. That's a responsibility I never take lightly. Clark County deserves judges who bring experience, dignity, and respect to every person who enters the courtroom. I'm proud to have earned their support of prosecutors, defense attorneys, law enforcement, labor unions, veterans organizations, and many others across our community. From JAG to judge, I'd be honored to earn your vote. I'm Alex Quag, running for Clark County District Court, Department 29. Learn more at electalexquag.com.
Paid for by the committee to elect Alex Quag. CityCast does not endorse candidates for office.
Coming home from a hospital stay or surgery is supposed to feel like relief, but the first few weeks alone can be scary. A little extra help at home can make all the difference in a smooth recovery. That's where Touching Hearts at Home comes in. Touching Hearts at Home is a locally owned home care agency right here in the Las Vegas Valley. For them, care is both a promise and a practice, with caregivers who are trained, background checked, and thoughtfully matched to each family. Caregivers help with daily things like bathing, meals, light housekeeping, transportation, and companionship. Touching Hearts at Home offers flexible scheduling from a few hours a week to full-time support serving seniors, people living with medical conditions or disabilities, those in transition from hospital to home, and anyone over the age of 18 who can benefit from the help of a professional caregiver. Give them a call at 702-514-0908. That's 702-514-0908, or visit their website at touchinghearts.com/Henderson to set up a free consultation, and they'll walk you through what support could look like for your family. Mention CityCast for 15% off your first month of service.
All right, MJ Vogue, are you guys fans of Cirque du Soleil? You caught a couple shows around town or what?
Yeah, I've seen probably one, maybe two Cirque shows. Not enough.
I would say, yeah, not enough. Usually when I'm invited for free, because I can't afford those tickets.
Yeah, hey, it's always nice when you can get a good deal, that's for sure. And sadly, though, we got a Cirque show that is closing. Cirque du Soleil just announced that Matt Apple is closing permanently on September 5th. So if you want to check it out, you got short time to be able to go and do it, but they are still running shows until then at least. But the show itself actually opened back in May of 2022 in the same showroom where Zumanity ran for 17 years. So this one ran about 4 years, but Zumanity, a really long run there.
Yeah.
This one, not so much, but with Matt Apple, it actually was notable just because it was the first Cirque show, or at least the first resident Cirque show down on the Strip, to incorporate stand-up comedy into the act, which I think is interesting, because that's not something I think about with Cirque. I had never seen Matt Apple, so I hadn't seen it firsthand, but I think that's very interesting, an interesting tweak, I guess, on the format of it. Obviously, it didn't quite work out, so this is why they're shuttering it. But Cirque does say that they're working with the cast and crew on other opportunities within the company, so hopefully they can move them along somewhere else and keep them, employed in this ecosystem. But they also say they're in the process of developing what they're calling the next generation of shows for the Strip. Very curious to see what that's going to be. So really, we do know something is coming to that space. We're just not really sure what that is. But I'm just curious, especially with Matt Apple, again, you guys hadn't seen Matt Apple, right? That's one that you guys both hadn't had a chance to check out. So yeah, neither of us have, the firsthand knowledge on this one, but it seems like this one was an experiment that didn't quite work out, right? That's the vibe I'm getting on this.
I don't know, again, I haven't seen it, but I'm curious. Yeah. There was a lot happening during its run. I mean, that was kind of opening a little bit in COVID area.
Right on the tail end, yeah.
Inflation was still going on then. It's been higher now. We've seen tourism down because of a lot of things that are happening with politics and tariffs. There's, I think, a lot happening all at once. So I don't know if it is a failed experiment or if the experiment just happened at a really hard time.
Yeah, timing's everything for sure.
Yeah, it's a big part of it. That's interesting because when you said they're working on, what was the quote you read? They're working on the next something for Vegas.
The next generation of shows for the Strip.
Thank you. I was I feel like you needed to say that with pomp and circumstance.
It's got to be,
because,
yeah.
The next generation of shows for the Strip, that tells me what they're saying is they want to shift gears. I think with the advent of the Sphere, I think that the stakes are raised on what constitutes as a Vegas show, what constitutes as entertainment, what is the next big thing. And so personally, I'm acrobating is enough for me. I cannot do that with my body.
What more do we need? That stuff is crazy.
It's beautiful to watch.
You flipped, you swung. Are there things to say safely catch you? I'm already enthralled by the magic of the human body. What these athletes and entertainers are capable of doing. But I think that's the question really is it seems like they're saying, well, maybe this missed the mark because it's not flashy enough, sparkly enough, doesn't have enough, I don't know, 3-dimensional AI created sparkle.
Yeah.
But the show, it looks like, was based on life and times in New York. And I think it's kind of also even though, yes, New York is a very interesting city, I think it is kind of less interesting subject matter to go to Vegas and watch a show that is about
New
the
York.
hustle and bustle of New York.
That's fair.
That feels like
in a place called New York, New York.
Maybe we're not the demographic, and maybe our tourists are not the demographic for that show versus other shows that are more universally relevant.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I think that leads right into the discussion that you're getting to here, Vogue, is that, like, is it still possible for shows like this, Cirque, Spiegel World, all that to survive in the current, space in modern Vegas? Because these, Cirque shows used to be, loss leaders just to get people in the door. Now, again, the price is sky high, so they're pricing a lot of people out. So is this something that can continue? I mean, now it's very much so a for-profit deal, as these ticket prices are insane. I do think worth it. I'm not trying to diminish their work, because it's incredible, as we've talked about. But the prices are crazy. Do you guys think that a show like this, MJ, can work moving forward? Maybe not necessarily this Mad Apple one, but just Cirque in general.
I think Cirque in general, because and maybe I'm with Vogue, it just is jaw-dropping, mesmerizing watching the performances. And so I think as long as you find the right subject and don't kind of have weird storylines or add too much, I think that there is an appetite for this, because there is an attraction to seeing something like this. But yeah, you have to realize that we're in an environment where people might not even have the financial flexibility, even when they're coming to Vegas, to purchase something like that. And so I think a lot has to be thought about in this equation of what you want to bring, how you want to price it, and how you're going to actually fill the seats.
Yeah, how are you going to market it? And I feel like as locals, we kind of get left out. I don't think the fact that not necessarily saying we're the sample for all of Vegas, but I think we're all pretty well-informed human beings. And so, to not know about what the show is about, I think a lot of times when I see Cirque advertisement, it's when I'm coming home from somewhere or leaving at the airport. But I think maybe what needs to happen is there might need to be some more marketing that targets locals, that maybe tells me what the story is, as opposed to look, flippy.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
The shock and awe of
maybe
they
you might
contort
need to
their body
give
and flip 10 times. Yeah.
Right. You might have to tell me a little bit more about the story that's happening. You might have to give me a family discount, maybe Monday nights it's locals night and you give us a locals discount and you really start targeting. So it might need to be a shift in the way that things are marketed, because definitely I feel like for me as a local, I'm usually avoiding the Strip. But if I go, it is for a show. It is for a show, but the show should be worthwhile. And so I think maybe just shift how they advertise so they can bring in maybe new demographics or people who used to come who maybe they want to invite back.
Yeah. I know they do offer some, discounts for locals. That was news to me. I had paid full price for a couple to take some family members when they came, and I was good God.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
this is over the years, but I was God, man. I'm I wish I knew about the locals discounts.
Money bags. Just taking people left.
I knew it was coming. I set myself up for that. I knew it was coming.
Why you do it like that?
I knew it was coming, yeah. Both wanted to say it.
But we should know. The fact that you didn't know, that's...
Market it better, yeah.
I think let us know that that you're for the locals, that you want us there, and to be hey, don't forget we have this discount. I think you can have a party, but you gotta put out the invitations.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of to that point though, let's take price out of the equation here, and just if you got people coming to town and you're hey, you got to see this Cirque show, which one are you guys sending them to? As you noted, you both have caught a couple of them. I have as well. What's the top of your list? If you're if you can catch one Cirque show, where are you sending them?
For me, I think the Ka show, I feel that one is worthwhile just to kind of see I'm here for the costume design and the body movement. And I think when they're doing different things that are kind of more you doing animal type movements, I think that's even more interesting. So I say Ka.
Nice. MJ, where are you sending folks?
Well, as you're paying, I'm gonna say, just kidding.
Since I'm paying, get out of here. CityCast is paying.
I think one of my friends described it as the best of it's called because every time you see a performance, you're just
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Is insane. Yeah, that's one of the ones that I've been to. That's one of the, if I'm sending anybody to any single Cirque show, it's the one of them that I did was I took my mom for Christmas one year when she came into town, and it was incredible. It's because you're just oh my God, there is so much going on. It's almost that's why we talk about the Sphere. I covered the UFC fight when they did it over there at the Sphere, when I was working for Channel 3. And it was like system overload. I had to go stare at a wall for like 3 hours when I got home. But that's how O is, though. Like, and you don't need the sphere and everything that comes with it because there's people flipping. The costume designs are crazy. You have the pool underneath it where you're watching all the divers like synchronized to make sure everyone's safe. There's so much. And I don't mean that to say it's overwhelming in a bad way. I mean that as like you're just constantly having those like moments where you're looking around like, holy crap, this is such a production that goes into doing it. And so that's one to me that's just like when I went, I was mesmerized by it. And I want to go back again, but again, to your point, need the prices to go down a bit to where I can afford to do it.
It's funny you say that it was kind of like a lot of stimulation. You need to go stare at a wall. Because my other thought is, what happens if we strip down some of the shows a little bit? Like, as opposed to going like over the top, what happens if either you do a show that is specifically for a smaller audience and then me paying more like might make sense, or having like talkbacks. I'm always trying to I'm so nosy. I'm the behind the scenes person. Like I watch behind the scenes thing. I want to know, how was this costume made? I want to know how long this thing took and what were the rewrites. Like I own the little Hamilton book that like shows all the annotations on the script.
That's cool.
I'm in it. Give me all of the nerd facts. So I think even learning more about the behind the scenes things, even if they added that on, I think that would be something that would also attract me. But also, is there a stripped down or a smaller audience experience that would justify, paying a bit more, but that would bring in, an audience that really is curious about a lot more of what the production is.
Adding to that too, I would also say that with the cast members, we have such incredibly talented people that we don't know who they are in like everyday life too. And so learning more about them and kind of making them appeal, like see this person like and what they can do. And I think adding to that, I think that adds to the appeal too.
Definitely. Yeah. From time to time, the local news stations will do like behind the scenes of like their training that goes into it. And I'm always so mesmerized by that because again, like the physical side of it, to be able to do some of those things and the training for it is incredible. The amount of times, like the time on task to do those things in training, to perform it perfectly, at least to our eyes, is incredible. And I, to your point, Vogue, like I eat up the behind the scenes stuff of that. I would love to see more of that. I think that would be something, maybe a low-cost thing where locals, we can watch it on TV more often, like a series or something. I don't know. I think would be really cool.
Look, I feel like they owe us money because the number of ideas we just came, but
maybe
it's time to start recording and filming those things and throwing it on Netflix.
Yeah, we got to cut this thing short. Let's all go down to Vanderpump, right? They're shooting a reality series down there right now. Let's go talk to the producers. Get this going, guys.
Let me tell y'all how to make some more money. Let me tell you what the people want.
Yeah, we want the producer credit on this one.
I do.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Let's go make it happen, all right? Let's march down there and get it going.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thanks, Jesse.
Coming up, I'm chatting with Holly Urker from IS Luxury about the organizations and advocates fighting to preserve Las Vegas history and what it means for the city's neighborhoods and vintage homes. Hey there, it's Jesse here with Holly Urker, luxury real estate advisor over at IS Luxury. Holly, welcome back to CityCast. I love these interviews each and every time we do them. This is going to be a fun one because, look, like Vegas has a reputation, being known as a city that likes to tear things down and call them like old and just build brand new stuff and move along. So what's actually being done from a real estate perspective to kind of push back against stuff like that?
There really is a bigger movement happening here, and it's larger than what most of us realize. So the Centennial Commission, if you've seen the Las Vegas license plates, there's funding from that every year that's provided to organizations throughout the city that work towards the historic designation and preservation. But to your question specifically on the real estate fund or side of it, since 2003, we started with one historically designated neighborhood, and now we're up to 3, with obviously Paradise Palms being the most current one, representing almost 1,000 homes. That's big growth in about 20 years for the historical protection of the residential areas.
Now, with those historic designations and protections thrown in there, what exactly does that mean, for the people who actually own the homes down there now or want to potentially buy them in the future?
Buyers ask this, and it doesn't affect materials, paint color, or landscaping. Really what it comes down to is the structural support of the house itself. When somebody goes to do a big renovation on the exterior of the property, it kind of gets flagged at the permitting process and then sends it down to review for the city's Preservation Commission. We want to preserve the roof lines. We don't want to add any second story additions to them.
There's some great homes, even like in my neighborhood, there's some Hugh Taylor homes, that he designed, where there's been a couple where people have put like a gigantic box on the top and you're just like, no, like why did you do that? So like the more work that we get done to stop that, I think is great. But it's not just on the real estate side as well. I mean, look, we've got great places like the Neon Museum and the Mob Museum, two of my favorite museums in town. I'm curious, like from your side of things in an industry that you're in, why are those institutions so important just for like preserving Vegas's history, but its story as well of that vintage Vegas, I guess, more than anything?
What they're proving is that just because a building or a sign isn't currently being used for what it was purposely or initially intended for, it doesn't make it archaic, but it can be shifted for how it's used now. The Neon Museum has preserved 250 signs. They also have a Vegas Voices program that they have collected over 200 recorded interviews of people that have very personal stories tied to those signs. You know, somebody's grandmother who worked at the Tropicana for 35 years and raised her children while working there. Those type of documented stories are being recorded and collected. As the museum grows, they're also collecting artifacts that all tied back into the history of that particular sign, which affects entertainment, food and beverage, shows. So it's the base of the story is the sign, but there's so much more to tell about that. As we all know, the Mob Museum hosts the previous post office and the courthouse, and it's one of the city's oldest buildings, and it's a very thriving museum. Like, how beautiful is that?
Oh, yeah.
Mayor Oscar Goodman championed the reservation and preservation of the property and added big square footage for exhibit space. The building itself won the Historic Preservation Award and the Mayor's Urban Design Symposium Award for the reuse of that property. And I think that can teach so many other businesses out there, you know, all these vintage wedding chapels down Wedding Chapel Row and Lawyers Row of these beautiful 1940s Tudor's home. It just shows you that it's very relevant to keep the buildings, work with them that I've always advocated for, and reuse them. That just shows you that it works.
For anybody in general that just wants to get into the mix and get more connected to Vegas preservation and kind of do their part, whether that's like owning a vintage home or just they love the history and they want to get more involved and learn more about that, what resources do they have and what should they know about, like where they can go to get more information to get involved?
Honestly, where I learned and studied vintage Vegas and became so familiar with these communities was through Nevada Preservation's programming. They have a new event coming up next month called Cocktails and True Tales.
I'm so excited for this one. We just taped our guide to the month, and that was my pick for the event of the month of August. So I'm so fired up for that one because I can't wait to hear the stories of these people that were like the early adopters in downtown. That event, August 21st, right, is the date on that one. Make sure you guys check it out. You'll probably see me there.
It is so awesome. You just hear how downtown and things like First Friday have evolved over 20 years.
Yeah.
Also, later in September, they're launching a new program called First Saturday, and they're going to be highlighting new communities throughout the downtown area on a monthly basis. In the downtown area, there's two other events that they host kind of throughout the year in conjunction with their annual programming called Preservation 101. And then they host another programming called Old Home 911, a vintage home restoration. Other fantastic resources is the UNLV Special Collection Vault. You're provided like white gloves to go through these old magazines if you want to research the builder, the floor plans, you know, what the homes originally looked like. They also archive a ton of oral history.
That's cool. For the folks that want to get more info, how do they get in touch with you?
We can go directly to my website at hollyerker.com or through the IS Luxury website.
You are definitely one of those great, incredible resources. So you don't have to pat yourself on the back to say that. I will for you. So again, guys, if you want to hit her up, go to isluxury.com and reach out to Holly. As always, thank you so much for listening to CityCast Las Vegas.
Thank you.
That's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our free morning newsletter as well. And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor at membership.citycast.fm/Las Vegas. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Until then, though, take care.